Well, yeah, this is certainly abrupt and it's certainly abrasive, but I do believe it is a negotiating tactic by the president regarding this digital services tax. Now, of course, this is something that certainly could have been included in these negotiations that were currently underway, where each side were giving themselves at least 30 days to agree to, to a deal. But now that we see the president has not only lashed out, but also walked away from these trade talks, that means basically what we're seeing here is the president is wanting more and more in terms of what Canada will put on the table in terms of concessions to actually at least get these sides back to the negotiating table.
You're correct, because the finance minister of Canada also said that this particular tax could be in conversations in the broader scheme of things. But this announcement coming just days ahead of that major deadline. The first payment was supposed to go out on Monday from these U.S. tech companies. I'm wondering, though, Eric, do you think that that payment will still come out? Do you see that still happening now?
Well, it's unclear. We're talking about President Donald Trump, so you never know what will happen with him. And also, the president is feeling pretty emboldened today after the latest ruling by the Supreme Court potentially ending birthright citizenship for the president. So right now, you're looking at a president who feels as though he has the wind at his back politically, and now he believes that he can certainly do more and more as he wishes. And I think this is simply a move that emboldens the president, but also, as he believes, gives him even greater leeway, particularly on what he believes is his signature economic policy, which, of course, are tariffs.
Calling Canada a very difficult country to do trade with, the fact remains that Canada and the U.S. have been the closest allies when it comes to trade, and the kind of business that they do and with ease that they have been doing business is something that's been an envy for nations across the world. How do you foresee this relation really playing out under this administration in the future when he says, OK, 7 days and you'll know what you have to do with us?
You know, I think this speaks to basically the fact that what we're seeing now is this is the president still, even with all of the overtures and the relationship and the respect that he certainly has for the Prime Minister, Mark Carney. I think what we're seeing here is now this is a snap back to reality in terms of where these two countries are, at least under this administration. We are seeing a president who still looks at Canada as not a friend, not as an ally, but as an enemy, and as a country that he believes the United States, quite frankly, is subsidizing and has been subsidizing, which is why he believes it should be a state. And now he sees this as an attempt by Canada to try to pull a fast one on U.S.-based companies. And so now what we're seeing here is the president is certainly playing to his base, playing domestic politics with this issue, and of course trying to squeeze as much out in terms of concessions from Canada over these negotiations.
One quick question though, Eric. When the president talks about the issue with the farmers and then he brings in the digital tax issue, do you believe that somewhere the president is actually mixing up issues? Because one thing has got to do with the supply chain management, and the other, of course, has got to do with the digital tax, which is retrospective to 2022 and which could bring something close to the tune of, I believe, $2 billion to the Canadian government? Or 200 billion, again, sorry, I think I'm making a mistake with the figure there.
That it doesn't matter with this president. We have seen the president conflate a number of issues, from the fentanyl crisis to immigration to, of course, trade on steel and lumber and other goods that flow through the United States and Canada on a daily basis. We're talking about 60 years of economic integration that have been put in place. And now we see the president attempting to basically undo all of that in a matter of just 6 months. And so what we're seeing right now is the president still, I think, holds a massive grudge against Canada, which, of course, no one can quite understand. But nevertheless, what we're seeing right now is, of course, it is both Canadian and American consumers who are certainly going to pay the price.
Yeah, and I just want to confirm that figure actually is that it'll cost the U.S. companies about $2 billion come June 30th deadline. But we leave it at that. Eric Ham, CTV News U.S. political analyst. There's never a day of rest when it comes to these relations. Eric, appreciate your time and insights. Thanks for joining us.
You bet. Thank you.